week, it'll have the information on his full truck alliance. I remember that. All right, so let's get to it, guys. First off, I want to thank everybody for joining the live stream as normal. Make sure you guys share. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys like the page. All that good shit. As a reminder, make sure that you guys tap into the Patreon page if you want actual advice on specific stocks, specific investments, and just having the ability to tap into my brain on certain stocks and things that will work out for you. Let me know what's going on. I have 1K in Robinhood. I understand. Like, trust me, I got money in Robinhood as well, and we're going to talk about that in a second. I do always want to get into what's going into the market currently today. The market as a whole is doing well today. Tech stocks are pretty down today, but not down, but pretty flat. But all the other stocks, renewable energy sector as a whole, they're all doing pretty well for themselves. I told you guys yesterday that a lot of the stock movement today was going to be based on the unemployment report because yesterday, as I told you guys, payrolls actually went up. So they needed to check and see if the jobless claims actually fell, which it looks like that they did. They've actually dropped a lot more than expected. They were only expected to drop roughly around, let me just make sure I get the exact amount. I believe it was like, well, let me just get the exact amount. It was predicted to be around like 390, and it dropped down to like 360,000. So, when you factor in that there's more paychecks getting cut and there's less people filing for unemployment, that means that we're going to start catching up with the inflation, which is obviously a good thing for everybody because the prices ain't going down on shit going up. So you got to get to the money. You don't got to get to work, but you got to get to the money. So that is a good thing. As always, I always want to tap in. Oh, for those who don't know, see, for people who don't follow my Patreon page, one thing that I do every weekend is I always speak on what companies are going public that week. Super, super important information so you can get down on the ground floor. I do recommend, if you want that insight on a regular basis, tap into the Patreon page. I only say that to say that one company in particular that you guys should look out for that's actually going public today is Krispy Kreme. Krispy Kreme donuts. They actually was public a few decades ago, but they actually ended up going private because they went under new ownership, so they wanted to be a private company, and they are announcing that they are going back public today. So I don't know what kind of business the donut industry is looking like right now, but I mean, no matter how you look at it, they are the number one donut company probably in America. So could be something to look into. I think the stock price is a little bit cheaper than what they predicted, so that's something to look into. And then the DD stock, I know. Shit, my wife was actually asking me about this stock yesterday. This is actually like the Uber in China. That's also a decent stock to look into. Always risky to deal with China stocks just because I was telling my wife the same thing. When it comes to China stocks, it's all about trying to have any ultimate control. And if they ever get mad at a company or feel a way about a company, they can take them out of it. It's not a capitalist country, it's a communist country. So, the dollar isn't the overall objective for the average company. So, any time you're dealing with that type of situation, kind of risky, but it is something to look into because it is a super profitable stock. So, in terms of the companies that are doing their earnings today, I hope you guys are paying attention to these companies that are doing their earnings. I named off some of those companies yesterday, and a lot of those companies shot the fuck up after their earnings call. Just as a reminder, when we say earnings call, we're talking about when the company does a quarterly call with its investors and talks about what they did the quarter before in terms of how much money they brought in, if it was a plus, if it met expectations, if it went beyond expectations. These are the things that let people know on a quarter to quarter basis on if this company is worth continuously investing into. So it's important to know when these things are happening. So there are a few companies that are that are doing their earnings call today. You may or may not be familiar with them. Walgreens Boots Alliance. I don't know what the fuck that's all about. I just thought it may be Walgreens. I don't know. We spoke about Coca Cola Europe Pacific last week, but I guess they held off on their earnings call. They're going to be doing it today. And a lot of these other companies you may not be familiar with. Simply Good Foods Company, China Index Holdings. That could be beneficial, actually. What else? Eh, you never heard of any of these other companies. If you ever want insight on what companies are going public on a day by day basis, you can always tap into NASDAQ.com. It's very detailed. can look like chicken scratch, but it does give you the information if you're looking for it. So, okay, so let's talk about Robinhood. These niggas is crazy, bro. Robinhood crazy as hell. So I mean, if you guys actually follow my live stream before I started Patreon, when I was just kind of doing this just kind of for the hell of it, I had expressed my resentment towards Robinhood back when GameStop and AMC was cracking the first time. Like a lot of people keep thanking me for, yo, thanks for telling me about AMC. I wasn't telling anybody about AMC this time. When I was talking about AMC, it was back into January, beginning of February. That's when they had its first boost, and that's when I was recommending you should hold on to this stock because if you do, eventually you'll be able to short squeeze and it should blow up. So lo and behold, it's doing pretty well. So a lot of people did pretty well for themselves. Salute to the people who are doing well for themselves. But that situation is when I first got a whiff of why I am never putting another penny into Robinhood again. For those who don't remember, when this GameStop and AMC craze originally first popped off in late January, early February, Robinhood pulled some weirdo shit. Like they pulled some shit where they made it where you couldn't buy stocks for AMC because they seen it going up. Come to find out, one of their biggest investors in the company was a hedge fund company that was actually betting against AMC. And this was a big thing. The owner of Robinhood had to go, all these different media platforms and try to justify why they did what they did. But the bottom line was one of their major, investors were a company that was betting against these companies, and that was one of the reasons why we were all saying hold, 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 so we could basically give a middle finger to these companies. And like I said, if you did hold, then you're doing pretty well for yourself. But once again, getting that insight already let me know, you know what, I'm never putting another dollar into Robinhood again. And since then, I personally never have. I haven't put a single penny into Robinhood since the day I originally said I'm not rocking with Robinhood anymore. All I've been doing is just keeping either the dollar amounts that I have in there, or I'm just moving the money around. And a lot of the money I'm still pulling out. I've invested in platforms like TD Ameritrade, Coinbase, other platforms. Like I'm good on Robinhood. But after hearing this news that was just released yesterday, I am going to advise that all of you get the hell away from Robinhood. Now, I'm not telling you to sell your current positions. I understand that some of the dollar amounts that you might have for certain stocks might be so low, it just may not benefit you to sell it at this point in time just to walk away from this platform. But it is important to know what this platform has been about. They've been on some bullshit and they've been holding off for a long time. So I'm just going to go over this article that actually just was released yesterday. I'm getting this actually from CNBC, but you can find this pretty much everywhere. So, Robinhood has to pay $70 million after causing widespread significant harm to customers. That is the headline. Like that's the headline. They have to pay $70 million after causing widespread and significant harm to customers. So let's talk about what kind of significant harm that they were doing. First and foremost, the company that is actually finding them this money is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, the FINRA. So there's a couple different things, and they've been doing this shit over the past couple years. First and foremost, they've had thousands of complaints between 2018 and 2021 that they're supposed to report to the SEC that they never did. So that's the first part. People have been complaining about this platform since 2018, and they haven't actually submitted those complaints, which by law they're supposed to do. So just some of the things that they've had information on. First off, they have giving people bad information on how much money they actually have in their account, which could place trades which could fuck up how they actually do their betting, which means that some people were over betting and they were not betting, they were investing based on money that they didn't necessarily have because these people were gassing them up. Just as an example, and this is sick. I didn't even know about this. In 2020, oh my god, this is some sad shit. You can look this shit up too. Alex Kearns. There's a kid named Alex Kearns in 2020. He was an investor. 20-year-old kid, man. He died. He killed himself in 2020 after he found out Robinhood showed that he had a negative cash balance of $720,000. And you know the fucked up thing about it is, it was wrong. He didn't even that money that number was wrong. I get it. If I'm a 20-year-old kid and I think I'm up hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I look on Robinhood one day and my shit says negative $720,000, I don't want to use that word, but I that thought might pop up in my head. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, this is kind of on Robinhood. I'm not saying their blood is on their hands, but they said it happened because of this, and the numbers was wrong. They found out that the balance was inaccurate. Like the FINRA was the people who had to find out that these numbers were inaccurate. Another thing that they were doing is that people who quite honestly don't know shit about options were placing option calls on Robinhood that they weren't supposed to do. Just basically clicking in numbers, and a responsible company is supposed to vet these option calls and even and suggest if they're actually good calls or not. Robinhood wasn't doing that. They were just taking people's money and letting them put any kind of option call there is. It's very important to do your research on how to properly do option trading. Like if you don't know how, if you haven't gone through a certain course, if you haven't read certain books, if you haven't really taken the time to learn how to do option trading, you need to stay away from it because it's like gambling if you don't know what you're doing. Like it's literally just putting money into something hoping that it wins, and that's a bad way to do business. So Robinhood wasn't given the advice that a typical trading company is supposed to give when it comes to options calling, and a lot of people lost money at that. All in all, because of these mishaps, they have screwed customers out of over $7 million in their own money. So that led to them having to kick out over 70 million. If you just Google this stuff, in terms of the $70 million Robinhood, it's everywhere. Like I said, this was just announced yesterday. So if you have money into Robinhood, I'm not telling you to pull it out loud. Like I said, if you have a low dollar amount, then do what you got to do. But if the dollar amount that you have for this stock that you're trying to hold on to is maybe $2, $5, $10, you might just want to walk away because you don't know what money you actually have in there. I personally maybe only have like 10 grand left into Robinhood that may seem like a lot, but I've been actually going through a lot of investment money. So for me, that's not really a big percentage of what I have. But I haven't put another penny in there since January. I'm not going to advise anybody to put another penny in this platform. Like they're not admitting that they did right or wrong by it, but they broke the bread. And if you break the bread, that means that you're just trying to cover the stink. So, like I said, man, do your own research. I would just really, really be mindful of Robinhood. Like, there's just too much information that has been shown over the course of the last day that shows that these guys have been hiding a lot of dirt, a lot of stink. It makes what happened a couple months ago, it makes me understand why they did what they did in terms of blocking people from buying AMC payments. Like I get it now. And you should get it too. So if you own Robinhood stocks, you need to look this stuff up. You need to read these articles. None of these articles, it won't take you no more than a minute or two. It's my job just to make you enlightened of what's going on, but it's up to you to do your research. So if I hear somebody complain a month from now, like, yo, Robinhood fucked me out of my money, or yo, they gave me the wrong numbers on what I had, or like that type of shit, then that's on y'all, especially if you watching this live stream right now. So, you know, sucks, man. If you think about it, like I said, look up this Alex Kearns kid. That's some sad shit. Like just Google his name, Alex Kearns, Kearns. Like it's sad that a kid literally, ended his own existence because some trading platform misquoted what he actually had in his account. He actually had money in his account, and they said he was losing 720. Really sad, man. So that's pretty much it, y'all. I'm done with the live streaming this week. I'm gonna be on vacation before this Born Legacy event that I got in Washington next weekend. So I'm gonna be probably doing this remotely in San Diego next weekend off the beach. So I might do a couple streams. I probably won't do all three. In all honesty, I'm just gonna be tied up enjoying life, man. I need a vacation, but I will still have the Patreon content up no matter what. Patreon content will new content will be available tomorrow. We will have some insight on some stocks that you can really look into. I might actually make tomorrow's Patreon content about the best online trading platforms to look into. Sometimes it's not always about stocks. So make sure you guys tap into the Patreon page once again if you want specific stocks and insight on ways to get to the money. I do thank everybody who is a part of the Patreon tribe as is. Hey, my pleasure. Make sure you guys do your research on that Robinhood shit though. That shit is real. So I'll catch you guys later. Y'all have a good rest of the week. And we will see you guys next week for the live stream. Later.